Welcome to the Spy Collection. In our series where we go through the allegedly leaked US intelligence community documents from 2023. My name is Anastasios, and this time we'll have a document allegedly originating from some secret plans of the American and South Korean militaries to provide 155mm shells to Ukraine. This one. Disclaimer: we cannot assess the authenticity of those documents. However, they are an excellent learning tool, and if they turn out to be real, also important to document in the Spy Collection. We have reconstructed this slide so that it's easier to go through it. The document was classified as secret before it became publicly available, and its title was Republic of Korea 155mm shells delivery timeline for 330,000 rounds. And based on the date on the top right, we know that this was from February 27th, 2023. This is quite important since, based on publicly available information, we know that around that time the United States were pressing their allies to provide more lethal aid to Ukraine in the ongoing war with Russia, since the US was unable to cover all the Ukrainian demand for weapons on their own. So secretly, the US military reached out to South Korea as one of their major allies and planned this transfer of 155mm rounds like those types that you see here. And here is the timeline of this secret military project. The day zero is when the execute order is given, and the plan was to perform the delivery from South Korea to Ukraine within 72 days. That's less than 3 months. 10 days after the exord, the airlift begins, and the first tranche of 155mm rounds will start arriving at the aerial/sea port of debarkation. This is quite important since, as we'll see, the plan was to utilize both air and sea transportation means. The reason is that airlifts can be significantly faster, but they are also significantly more expensive. So initially, deliveries can be done via airlifts, while ships are there to enable the long-term deliveries. Specifically, the first and second vessels were planned to depart from South Korea 27 and 37 days after the exord respectively. By the 45th day, it was expected that all the airlifts would be completed, leaving the remaining deliveries to the sea lift, which was to be completed by the 72nd day. If a military leader didn't have the time to go through this timeline, they could also just read this quick summary of the entire secret operation. As we read, the airlifts would allow for a daily delivery of 4,752 shells, and the US was planning to also add 88,000 shells from the War Reserve Stockpile Ammunition Israel by day 30, and another 12,000 by day 41. For those not familiar, the United States Military European Command maintains one of its largest war reserves in Israel. That will result in a total of 253,548 155mm shells delivered to Ukraine, combining both the South Korean and American supplies. If someone wanted to get an even closer look at the timelines, the report splits into two parts, the sea lift and airlift timelines. Going back to our previous statement, here you can see how significantly more expensive the airlifts were compared to sea lifts. The total sea lift cost was estimated at $26 million with a transportation cost of $13 million per vessel, while the airlift was at $144 million by estimating $1.5 million for commercial 747s or $700,000 when using the military's C-17s. The vessels require 36 to 41 days of sailing to get from the Jinhae port of South Korea to the port of Nordenham in Germany. Additionally, the ships were to be used to transfer the rounds from the US Reserve Stockpile Ammunition Israel, with the estimated time of arrival that you see here, March 28th and April 4th, 2023. Moving to the airlifts, each box represents an airlift from South Korea. The number on the left is the aircraft type and amount of flights for that day, and the number on the right is the incremental stockpile of 155mm rounds transported. And if you think that's a lot of military transportation flights, then here is the complete operation. From day 10 to day 41, the plan was to transfer over 153,155mm shells from South Korea to Ukraine using airlifts. As we read, this practically meant 97 flights of 747 equivalent aircrafts with approximately 1,584 rounds per aircraft. That's a very expensive and complex secret logistics operation. As we read here, it's complex even from a practical perspective, since the US Military Transportation Command was working with some commercial partners to achieve that, but they were unable to provide more than 3 747 aircraft per day. And at the time of this plan, the Transcom was working to increase that to 4 aircraft per day. Secret plans like this are a top espionage target. We do not know if Russia or Russia's allies had managed to steal this plan via clandestine means before it was publicly leaked, but in either case, it's a rare opportunity to get a look behind the curtain of secret military operations that might not sound as exciting, but are instrumental in the development of wartime operations. Tracking US Transcom planes is something that some OSINT enthusiasts do, but without all of this context, it provides little intelligence value. This is why all-source intelligence is so crucial, and it's why nothing is as it seems.